In a small village tucked away at the edge of a vast forest, there lived an old man named Henry. He was a quiet, wise soul who had seen much in his years, yet he never stopped believing that life had more lessons to offer. He lived alone in a small cottage, with a garden full of herbs and flowers. The villagers often sought him out, not just for his knowledge of plants, but for the wisdom he had gathered over a lifetime. One day, as Henry was walking along the edge of the forest, he heard a rustling in the bushes. He turned around and saw a young lion, its mane still soft and its eyes full of curiosity. The lion was not the fierce beast one might expect in a story like this. It was just a young animal trying to make sense of the world. The lion stood frozen for a moment, staring at Henry. "Why are you so still, young one?" Henry asked, not at all afraid. The lion slowly padded closer, and with a quiet voice that barely seemed capable of a roar, it spoke. "I'm lost," the lion said. "I don't know how to find my way in this world. I want to be strong, I want to lead my pride, but I don't know how. I'm not like the older lions. They are fierce, powerful, and respected. But I feel small. I feel weak." Henry smiled kindly at the young lion, understanding more than the lion could know. He had heard this kind of sadness many times before, but from people, not animals. "Young lion," Henry said, crouching down so that he was eye level with the animal, "true strength isn't just about how much power you have. It's about knowing when to fight and when to pause. It's about understanding yourself before you can lead others. The path to greatness doesn't start with an explosion of force, it begins with quiet steps of self-awareness." The lion, confused yet intrigued, asked, "But how can I be strong if I don't know how to fight? How will I lead my pride if I'm not strong enough?" Henry chuckled softly. "Let me show you something," he said, getting up from where he had crouched. He motioned for the lion to follow him into the forest. They walked through thick trees and over rushing streams until they reached a clearing. In the center of the clearing was a large stone boulder. "This," Henry said, pointing to the boulder, "is strength in its raw form. It's heavy, solid, and unyielding. It's like you want to be tough, powerful, and proud. But do you see the small cracks along the sides?" The lion nodded, his young eyes fixed on the stone. "Those cracks weren't made by force," Henry explained. "The stone didn't break from the weight of 1,000 lions charging at it. It was made by patience. Over years and years, rain, wind, and the gentle touch of nature wore down the stone, creating cracks and allowing it to change. True strength is about being resilient, about adapting, and about being patient with yourself." The lion blinked, his confusion lifting slightly. He had never thought of strength in such a way. "But how does that help me?" the lion asked. "I still don't know how to lead my pride." Henry sat down on the ground, folding his hands in his lap. He smiled again, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "It helps because before you can lead, you must learn to follow. Not follow others blindly, but follow the rhythm of nature. Understand your own strengths and weaknesses. Only then will you know when to fight and when to step back. Leading your pride isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about being wise enough to know when to lead and when to listen." The lion thought about this for a long time. The words Henry had spoken made sense, but the lion still felt unsure. How could he trust his instincts when he had no idea what those instincts were? Henry stood up and put a hand on the lion's back, a comforting gesture. "Remember, young one, the strongest trees don't grow overnight. They grow slowly, steadily, learning from the seasons and storms. You too will grow into the leader you want to be. But first, learn to listen. Listen to your heart. Listen to the world around you. Strength doesn't come from charging ahead without thought. It comes from the quiet moments where you discover who you truly are." The lion looked out across the clearing. The forest was still, peaceful, but full of potential. The lion could feel the energy of the world moving, the same way it moved in the forest, quiet and constant. He felt a spark of hope deep inside. "I think I understand now," the lion said softly. "Strength isn't about being the loudest or the fiercest. It's about knowing myself and leading with wisdom." Henry nodded, his face glowing with pride. "Exactly. Now go and find your pride, young one. Lead them with the strength you now understand." The young lion stood tall, its chest puffed out slightly. It may not have been the strongest in the forest, but it knew something even more important. That real strength wasn't about power, it was about wisdom, patience, and self-awareness. As it trotted off into the forest to find its pride, it felt ready. Not because it was the biggest lion, but because it was the wisest.